Michelle Beets' murder is one of the most shocking cases to hit her quiet neighborhood. On the night of March 10th, 2024, Michelle was brutally gunned down right on her doorstep. But who could have done this to such a kind, hard-working woman with no known enemies? The police have no clear suspects, and as new evidence is found, the mystery only deepens. What if the truth behind Michelle's murder is something much more complex than anyone could imagine? Stay tuned to uncover the shocking details you won't want to miss. The crime on the night of March 10th, 2024. Michelle Beets, a 34-year-old mother of two, was tragically murdered on her doorstep. She had just returned home from a long day at work, and as she stepped out of her car, the unthinkable happened. Someone lurking in the shadows shot her multiple times in cold blood. The community was shaken to its core, as Michelle was known for her kindness and generosity. Michelle's death came as a complete shock to everyone who knew her. She had no known enemies and was described as a loving mother, a hard worker, and a friend to many. Her murder seemed senseless, as there were no signs of a robbery or altercation. The police were left with more questions than answers. Was this a random act of violence, or was there something deeper behind it? Neighbors heard the shots that night and immediately called 911. By the time emergency services arrived, it was too late. Michelle had already passed away. The scene was heartbreaking, and investigators quickly realized they were dealing with a case that was more complex than a simple street crime. The murder took place in a quiet suburban neighborhood where crimes like this were unheard of. The community, once peaceful and safe, now found itself gripped by fear and confusion. What was the motive behind Michelle's killing? Was this a targeted attack, or was it a case of mistaken identity? The search for answers had just begun, but one thing was certain: Michelle's tragic death would haunt her family and friends forever. The victim, Michelle Beets, was a beloved figure in her community. At just 34 years old, she had a life full of promise. A dedicated mother to two young children, she worked tirelessly to provide for her family. Those who knew her spoke of her kindness, her willingness to help others, and her unwavering dedication to her kids. Michelle wasn't just a mother, she was a friend, a neighbor, and a confidant. Her vibrant personality and infectious smile left an imprint on everyone she encountered. Michelle was known for her strong work ethic. She held down a steady job while balancing the responsibilities of motherhood. Her life, though challenging at times, was one of constant love and care for her children. She often volunteered at local charity events and was deeply involved in her children's school activities. Her commitment to her family and community made her a respected and cherished member of the neighborhood. Despite the pressures of being a single mother, Michelle managed to maintain a positive outlook. Her life wasn't always easy, but she found joy in the small moments: family dinners, weekend outings, and helping her kids with their homework. Her ability to create a warm and loving home environment was what stood out most to those around her. Michelle's sudden and brutal death left an unfillable void. For her family, friends, and the community, it was not just the loss of a mother and a friend, it was the loss of someone who made the world a better place with her presence. The investigation. The investigation into Michelle Beets' murder began immediately after the police arrived at the crime scene. The authorities were faced with a mystery that seemed impossible to solve. There were no immediate leads or obvious suspects, and the quiet suburban neighborhood where Michelle lived had never experienced anything like this. Investigators worked tirelessly, combing through the area for evidence and interviewing witnesses. The first clue came from the 911 calls made by neighbors who reported hearing gunshots. These calls, though urgent, provided little information about the killer's identity. The police quickly secured the area, but the darkness and the suddenness of the attack made it difficult to find concrete evidence. Surveillance footage from nearby homes and businesses was reviewed, but it only showed Michelle's arrival at her doorstep and the sound of gunshots seconds later. As days passed, the investigation moved forward with a sense of urgency. Detectives interviewed Michelle's family, friends, and co-workers, hoping someone could provide a lead. But everyone described Michelle as a person with no enemies. She had no known conflicts or threats, making it difficult to understand why anyone would want to harm her. The authorities also began looking into her past. While Michelle had lived a relatively peaceful life, they learned that she had been through some personal struggles, including a recent breakup. Some speculated that the relationship might have played a role, but there was no direct evidence linking it to the murder. Despite the lack of clear evidence, the investigation continued. Detectives knew they were dealing with a carefully planned crime, and they remained determined to uncover the truth. As the days turned into weeks, the mystery surrounding Michelle's death only deepened, leaving her loved ones in anguish and desperate for answers. Evidence found. As the investigation progressed, small pieces of evidence began to surface. The police discovered a shell casing near Michelle's doorstep, which confirmed that the murder was a targeted shooting. However, there were no fingerprints or DNA traces left behind. A few days later, investigators found a witness who had seen a black SUV driving away from the area just minutes after the shooting. This was a promising lead, but the vehicle's license plate number was unclear, and it seemed to be a common model. Additionally, forensic experts found traces of an unfamiliar substance on the sidewalk near the crime scene. It was later identified as a rare chemical compound, which only deepened the mystery. Investigators began to wonder if the murder could be connected to something much larger than a personal dispute. Despite these discoveries, no immediate suspects emerged, and the case remained frustratingly unsolved. Suspects. With the evidence in hand, the investigation focused on possible suspects. Michelle's ex-partner quickly became a person of interest. The couple had gone through a difficult breakup months before, and some of Michelle's friends had noted that her ex had been upset by the separation. However, when detectives questioned him, he provided an alibi and showed no signs of involvement in the crime. He seemed genuinely shocked by Michelle's death, further complicating the investigation. As the police dug deeper, they turned their attention to other potential leads. One of Michelle's co-workers, who had recently been passed over for a promotion, had exhibited signs of frustration at work. Rumors swirled that he had a tense relationship with Michelle, though no direct connection to the murder was found. The most surprising lead came from Michelle's own social circle. A man, unknown to the authorities, had been seen near her home in the days leading up to the murder. Witnesses recalled seeing him acting suspiciously, but no one knew who he was or what his intentions might have been. As the police worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle, they realized that the killer could be anyone. With each suspect, the investigation became even more convoluted, making it harder to determine who had the motive to kill Michelle. The case was turning into a true mystery, leaving everyone questioning what really happened that fateful night. The aftermath. The tragic murder of Michelle Beets left a profound impact on her family, friends, and the entire community. Her children, still young and unaware of the full extent of what had happened, were left without their mother in the most heartbreaking way. Michelle's parents, who had always been a central part of her life, were devastated. They struggled with the grief of losing their daughter and the uncertainty of why anyone would want to harm her. The entire family was forced to navigate a world without the warmth and love Michelle had brought into their lives. For the community, Michelle's murder marked the end of an era of peace. The neighborhood where she had lived for years, once known for its safety and quiet, was now on edge. Neighbors who had once walked their streets freely found themselves locking their doors earlier and glancing nervously over their shoulders. The sense of security was shattered, and many wondered if the killer was still among them. The fear that someone could have so easily taken a life so senselessly cast a shadow over the once thriving community. As the investigation dragged on with no resolution, the pain only deepened. Michelle's friends rallied around her family, holding vigils and organizing fundraisers to support the children she had left behind. Yet the questions remained unanswered. Who was responsible for Michelle's death? Why did they do it? Was it someone close to her, or a stranger with a sinister agenda? While the investigation continued, the emotional toll on Michelle's loved ones was undeniable. In the absence of closure, the anguish of not knowing who had taken Michelle's life remained unbearable. Every day without an arrest was a reminder of the senselessness of it all. The case became a symbol of the deep impact violent crime can have on a community, destroying not just a life, but also the sense of safety and peace that people take for granted. Michelle's memory lived on through those who knew her, but the search for justice remained a painful reminder that some answers may never come. This case leaves more questions than answers. Who would want to kill a loving mother with no clear motive? Drop your theories in the comments below, and if you want to keep up with this mysterious case and others like it, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're diving deep into the most chilling and unsolved crimes out there. Don't miss our next video, The Conspiracy to Murder Jennifer Dulos, From Perfect Marriage to Possible Murder, coming soon. What do you think? Was Michelle's murder a random act